Hi.
Yeah, I know.
Well, thanks for coming out. That was a really competitive practice. It wasn't perfect, but when you compete the way that they did, you make progress. And we're making progress. What we have to do is become more consistent in everything that we're doing. We're trying to put maximum pressure on these guys. Make it hard so that they have to push their boundaries. And today I saw them take a little step. So that's always encouraging. So we're heading in the right direction. Some days you're a little bit more enthused about things. Some days you walk off a little bit discouraged as a coach or a player. But the key thing is every day we've gotten a little bit better, and that's our goal right now. So.
5 days in, have you seen any separation of quarterback yet?
No, really haven't. And I think it'll happen here eventually, but I haven't really seen any separation. We're trying to get everyone, about equal reps and have them working with the first group, so we're rotating guys through with the first offensive line and the first receivers. One of the problems that we're having right now is we've had some minor injuries at receiver, some pulls, some strains, and so there's a lack of consistency for the quarterbacks in terms of who they're throwing to, and I think that's really affecting them. But eventually here, as they get synced up with everybody, we should hopefully see some separation.
You said after the first practice, Tyler caught your eye for the first time because you got to see him. Has he continued to show you stuff? I mean, what's been impressive about him so far?
That's interesting. That's a great question. And here's what I've seen. And I talked to Tyler about this today, is that first practice he looked really strong. And in the subsequent practices, and I haven't looked at today on film, but he didn't look as strong. And let's remember, he's 9 months out from an ACL. So he came out here the first day, he wasn't fatigued at all. And he was able to plant and throw and rotate his hips and get his body into it. And then the next couple of days, I think a little fatigue set in. And so he wasn't quite as accurate. There wasn't quite as much force on his throws. But without looking at it, I sensed today he was starting to build that back. And I told him, I said, you got to find that blend of patience and pushing yourself. And we have to realize that you're still rehabbing, I mean, it hadn't been that long, and he hasn't played a lot of football. So I'm not at all discouraged. I just want to make sure that we continue to make the right decisions with him going forward so he can make the progress and not have a setback.
You got on the receivers early in practice. You like how they responded as it went on?
I did. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, at this age group especially, I don't like to yell. I don't like to yell, but I think sometimes that's one of the ways you can motivate, to challenge them, and sometimes, it's scripted, sometimes it's unscripted. Sometimes you script it to see how they'll react. Sometimes it just comes out. These guys, and I've said this since I got here, the thing that I appreciate the most about this team is their lack of entitlement and their willingness to work for it, and that they don't get their dauber down when you get on them, and they rebound from a tough drill or a tough rep or a tough practice, and they come back with great enthusiasm. And to me, those are the qualities you're looking for in a young team.
Large senior class, and you have a couple of graduate students. Do you look for there to be a guy who steps up to be the leader, or look for group leadership?
You know what? You want it to kind of come natural. To me, and I said this the other day, leadership is what you do, not what you say. And when you do it right and you work hard and you have a high standard, then you earn the right to say things that actually have an impact on your teammates. We're not going to force leadership. We're going to encourage leadership. We have some natural leaders here that are still feeling their way out and figuring out if it's time for them to speak up. And you're going to talk to one here in a minute, Cam. He and I had a discussion the other day about leadership. I said, in my opinion, you've earned the right to be a little bit more vocal, to be a little more demanding of your teammates because of the way you work and your attitude and you being a man and being serious about things. But unfortunately, he's been sidelined the last couple of days. And so when a guy's sidelined, it's hard for them to raise their voice. People just kind of tune them out. So it's going to develop naturally. There are certainly leaders on this team.
I thought Keelan had a really strong first practice when we were here. Has he shown you things, and the overall receiver group, it might have been your most talented group last year. Do you see that talent coming through?
I need to see more. I wasn't here last year, so they weren't mine last year. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I need to see more. I need to see more consistency. I need to see him catch the ball consistently. I need to see him run routes consistently. I need to see him separate from the defensive backs consistently. I need to see them be, as a group, consistent in their route running. I will tell you this, Keelan had a very good day today. After I jumped him, he was the one that I noticed rise up. Yesterday, it was Darius Bush. I saw him rise up. But the whole group just needs to rise up, and that's going to happen. I mean, we're 5 days in, and it's going to happen because they work at it, and they've got a great attitude, and that's the start of everything.
How are the competitive juices for you getting back on the field after not being on the field for a few years?
It's been really fun for me, frustrating at times. I kind of made this vow to myself that I wasn't going to be a yeller and a cusser. Like I've really kind of, but you are who you are, right? I love this game. I love these kids. When I lose it a little bit, it's because I care so much about this team and this school and these kids, mostly these kids, and they know that. They know that. But it's been fun.
Has anything surprised you to this point that maybe you didn't think you had heading in the game?
I'll tell you one thing that's been really encouraging to me is the way our defense has played. Our secondary, our defensive line, and our linebackers, all three groups. I think it's natural early in camp that your defense is a little ahead of your offense because offense takes so much timing, right? But I've been encouraged by what I've seen there. I've been really encouraged by Bruton and Devontae Houston and their speed. I mean, they can flat get out and go. Obviously, they're a little bit undersized, but in our scheme, which is a zone scheme, kind of an outside zone scheme, they can do the things that you need to do to get yards. And so I've been encouraged by that.
And Houston seems like he's able to do some things in the pass game too.
Both of them are, really. Like they're guys that have versatility. They don't have to line up behind the quarterback. The things you want to do with guys like that is give them the ball in space and let them make one guy miss and then see if anyone can catch them, because they're hard to catch.
Jim, you've been around some of the great kickers of all time. What do you look for in a young kicker that you're trying to develop?
I think the first thing is their demeanor. How they handle the pressure of the moment, how they come back from a miss. I look at the way they prepare, and I was fortunate to be around Morton Anderson at 2 points in my career. When I was a young coach at New Orleans, and Morton used to use my office to watch film. And so I was around him a lot. And there's only a couple kickers in the Hall of Fame, and he's one of them. And the professionalism of which he went about his job was amazing. Like, he was meticulous, and he watched film and studied himself. And he sent me information a few years ago on how he did things, which I try to pass on to the kickers. And then it's just, how do they handle that moment, the pressure? And so today we do a period, we call it Red Zone Lockout. That's that last period there. And we're keeping score, and the kickers become very important in that and how we keep score. And so I want to see Noe today go out there and bury him, and he did it. Now the defense won, okay, but he performed his task. You look at their face, do they look uptight or are they relaxed? And I see a guy that's relaxed. So, and then, as you know, the most important thing is, does it go through the two yellow uprights, right? And they're going through right now, so I'm happy about that.
You can't really simulate the moment.
You can't, and you try to put pressure on them, but we all know on Saturdays it's different. It's totally different, different.
Does it impress you that he stayed here when a five-star kicker was brought in over him?
Well, I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. It surprises me. I can tell you this: that at the end of spring, I went to Doug and I said, "Man, this kid could kick anywhere. I'm sure glad he's with us." And unfortunate for Joe that happened, but fortunate for us that we have someone that's so capable. And I think every time he walks out there and he kicks one through the uprights, his teammates get more confidence in him, and he feels it. And he'll get more confident, and it'll just snowball.
Have you ever seen the clip of the 56-yarder that he hit?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
State
high
In high school?
State
State record? Well, good. I bet he'll make some of those for us down the line here.
Eric
guys.
talked about the noticeable shift in energy between last year and this year. What have you made out of the noise and the support you've seen from everyone on the sidelines and the camaraderie thus far?
Well, I expect it. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's what we expect. I think you get what you expect. You get what you demand. I think that these guys, to their credit, they've been through a lot. I mean, from the COVID where their season was canceled to, what happened with the coaching change last year early in the season, losing close games, having a tough year. A new guy comes in, they don't even know. And yet they've just been, as I've said, their willingness to adapt, their willingness to invest, it's a little bit overwhelming. Like I feel an incredible responsibility to these guys because of the way they have responded to what this staff has asked them to do. And listen, I don't know what it's going to look like early, but I can tell you this: if we continue to do what we're doing, the way we're doing it, with the attitude they have, this program will become a very, 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 very good program.
Hey guys, thanks. We got to get him out of here.
Yeah, I got to get Cam.
We got to get Cam.
Thank you.
Cam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Dave.